Hello everybody, welcome back. So today I'm just doing a tutorial. It's like my medium coverage base routine. So if you're interested to see what kind of products, what kind of techniques I use for that, without powder, I might add, then just keep on watching. Alrighty, so pardon the bangs. I mean, I have to get them out of the way in order to touch my forehead in any way, so you know, get past that. I don't find primer is a necessary step, but I do enjoy it. So I always prime my face basically. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion today in 903 Medium Glow. On my skin tone anyway, this provides a little extra bit of color and some glow, and this is one of my favorite products. It's the most comparable product I've found to the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the second one I'm working on. I've had one in the past and I didn't repurchase it for a while because I had Charlotte Tilbury and I was like, well, what's the point? But it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful product. So I love her. Also, pardon that my skin is a little red in areas. I am a picker. I found a freckle that I thought was black right on my cheek here, and I went to town on it and discovered that it was not, in fact, a blackhead, but a freckle. So ignore that. This routine is going to be more about a medium coverage base. I know I am such an advocate for sheer coverage, but I do like a good medium coverage base, especially when it gets colder out. I'm not sure why that is. I just prefer more of a medium to full coverage look. Well, not full, just medium coverage look. So I'm going to be mixing two foundations today, only because I don't have the correct shade in either. So first of all, this is the Makeup Revolution Fast Base Stick Foundation. This is one of the best foundations. No, this is the best foundation stick I've ever tried. I have the shade F4, which I thought would be a little darker than the one I was previously using, and it is a little bit, but I think it's still kind of off color match wise. Let me just swipe some on my face to make sure. It's a little, you know, it might work. It's a little light. I've been going a little darker with my foundations lately, so I think that's why I feel a type of way about this. I'm gonna put a few swipes on the bottom of my face, and I'm gonna add just a touch of the NYX Born to Glow. This is Rachel's shade. This is the shade Buff. So this one is way too deep for me, but I do like to have a little extra, I don't know, color in my foundation. I just feel like a washed out bum half the time, so just a little like tiny dollop of that on each cheek. And that should cover most of my face. I probably applied too much. But I'm gonna blend that out with a sponge. This is from Colored Rain. I know not everybody is into sponges, but I sure am, so I'm not a brush girl at all. But you know, you do you. So I'm gonna start blending that out. This stick foundation is just the easiest thing in the world to blend out too. It's so creamy, like it's what I would imagine the Makeup Forever one is like, but I haven't tried that, so. And I normally will pounce and press this in for a good while. Sometimes even like a trick I like to do, so I'll show you that now. Where are you? A trick I like to do sometimes if I feel that my base is a little too matte, which I wouldn't say it's too matte now, it's just not as dewy as I like it, is I'll take a little bit of my Hollywood Flawless filter and just pop it on the high points of my face, including the center of the forehead, almost in like a concealer type fashion. And I'll blend that all over my skin. So I obviously like the glow, the dew, the vibe, but this helps add a little bit of extra sheen without being metallic and without taking away any of the coverage that we put on there. So you can have the benefit of like the finish of like a tinted moisturizer, but without using a tinted moisturizer. And I'm a big advocate for tinted moisturizers also, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying here, but yeah, so that's foundation. I honestly don't need concealer, and I don't, especially with this much coverage on my face. I am going to add some, just so I can open this. I am going to add some concealer only because I can, but it's not something I think I need at all. I'm going to use the ILF Hydrating Camo Concealer. This one I actually really, really like. I hated the regular camo concealer. It was just like a nightmare and a half on me. But this one is a really, really nice formula. And then for the tiniest bit of brightness, just for a little bit of a dramatic effect, since I've been doing a little more drama lately with my base routine, I'm going to take a little bit of this LA Girl concealer. This is in Cool Pink, I believe. It's a light pink corrector shade, but it's very, very brightening. So if you add just a little bit of this to your concealer, you can also do it under, but if you add it to it, it's obviously a more brightening there effect. Then you can have bright under eye. Not necessarily as intense as, like, you know, Kim K, Circa, what was that, 2012, 2014? I don't know. Was it 2016? What year is it? It's 2020, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, this will give you a bright under eye. You can let your concealer sit for a bit more coverage if that's something that you prefer, but I normally just let it sit for like 30 seconds maybe. Not for any reason, just because I do, honestly. So, and I always use like the butt of the sponge. I know a lot of people like flip it over to the pointy edge to get like in there like crevices. I just don't like doing that. I like the butt because it blends everything a little better, in my opinion. Like, you have your foundation left over on here. If you're gonna use a cream bronzer or contour, you might use it on this as well. So that's my preference. And then I do cream contour / cream bronze like every day. So I will be doing that today. Normally I would go with my Salt New York Cream Tint Pros, but to switch it up, I am going to use the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is a good product. I have this in Fair, but it's very deep for Fair, which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but this thing is like the most intense coverage you'll probably ever find out of a bronzer type product. So I just take like the tiniest dollop on the back of my sponge, and then I start to blend it in that way and work in like small sections. I wouldn't say this has, at least when I use it, probably because it's in conjunction with more glowy products, I wouldn't say this has like a matte finish. It normally just melds to the texture of whatever I'm wearing. But I can imagine if you use this on top of a matte foundation, then it would probably be a little harder to blend, but I found that to be the case with like even the Fenty contour sticks, the match sticks, whatever those are called. I couldn't blend those over the Fenty foundation, but over my normal foundations and tinted moisturizers, they blended really, really nice. So if you're having problems, that might be why. But yeah, this is very, very intense as far as coverage levels go. Normally I would use this with like a brush, but today I just don't feel like it. So I'm just gonna slowly build that up to my color preference. But I don't want to go too intense because I will be adding a powder bronzer on top as well. So this is really the most dramatic type of base I'll go for. I won't be like blush draping or anything today, but as far as coverage and stuff like that, this is about as intense as it gets for me. So and then I also, when I use these when I use cream bronzers and stuff, I like to make sure like I focus as much of the pigment as I can where I want it like sculpted, but then with the remainder I like to press that kind of all over just to make it less apparent, a little more natural. Not to say that this looks like I was born with bronzer on my skin or anything like that, but I just find it helps with the stark contrast of the bronze to light, you know. So I saw that on Kiki G's YouTube channel. She's the founder of Salt New York, actually, and I love her to pieces. So I was watching one of her videos, and I'll link that in I about how to like highlight and contour, and she was using the Cream Tint Pros, and it was just really, really informative. And I know tutorials aren't like the wave anymore, but I still really enjoy them, so I'm gonna keep filming them. Someday somebody's bound to appreciate it, right? Also, let us know what you think of the background. This shelf is crooked, and I don't really care what you think about it because Rachel and I tried to be really independent. We're like, we don't need the help of a man to put up this shelf, you know? We have Google. We know how to use a drill and screws. Wrong. Very wrong. That shelf came crashing down. I shattered my blushing glow palette from Natasha. Luckily I was able to repress it, but oh my god, it was the biggest mess ever. anyway, now that I've been doing bronzer for approximately 90 minutes, I am going to go into blush. No, I'm not. So I'm actually going to go into my tan palette from Natasha Denona. I've been panning this. As you can tell, she's pretty intensely beat up. I like to go on with this this shade. I don't know what it is, but it's like this cream, bronzy, glowy kind of shade. I like to put a bit of that on the back of my sponge and literally just press around where I cream bronzed. This kind of helps with that blend, and it also helps a little bit with the finish, I guess. It helps everything look as luminous as I want it to without adding like a bunch of powder highlight kind of thing. So this routine is going to be way too in-depth. I've been filming for 13 minutes already. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so put that everywhere. Again, I neglect the forehead because nobody's going to see that. When I don't have bangs, maybe I'll do a forehead tutorial if that's... Whoa, I was looking at powder products. If that's something you're into, I could do like a forehead tutorial, but that seems a little sus. So I do, whoa, saturation went crazy. So I don't think cream blush is always necessary, but it is something I prefer. I've actually been using my lipstick. This is Tiptoe from Colourpop. And even though this is a discontinued shade, I'm panning this and it's a gorgeous blush. So I love using this as a base for my powder blush. So I just rub like a bunch of that on the back of my hand and use either a brush or my sponge. In this case, I'm just going to take my sponge and really press that in. I like to keep it higher on my cheeks just because I find that that's the most flattering blush shape on me. So that is what I will be doing today. You obviously don't have to go as crazy, but I really like lipstick as blush. If you haven't tried that, you definitely should. You could be wary though, just because if you're sensitive to fragrance and you have like a really fragrant lip product, that could become a problem for your skin. So just, you know, bear that in mind. And then again, with whatever's remaining, I'm just going over my whole face basically. So it's like Tiptoe. Tiptoe is my foundation. Okay, so if you're like a normal human being, you could probably just keep it like as is, add some highlight and go on with life. I'm gonna amp it up, obviously, because this is a tutorial on, you know, amping things up. I'm gonna take a powder bronzer. This one is from Makeup Revolution. This is their Bronzer Reloaded. I believe this is the only shade it comes in, which is just an atrocity. But when I tell you, I love this bronzer so much. It's just the perfect color for me. I wasn't sure about it when I first ordered it, but I was looking for a inexpensive bronzer because I really liked the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil, and I didn't want to buy it because it's so expensive. So I settled on this one, and this one has a sheen. It's kind of like Milani Baked Bronzer in Dolce, just a little bit deeper than that one. So I really like that. Anyway, I'm going to take that on a Real Techniques brush. This is the blush brush, and I'm going to, you know, really whack her on there, and then just start grazing my face. So I normally start at the forehead. Again, I don't know why, but like if I don't have a bronzed forehead, I just feel like the weirdest person on earth. I don't know why that is. I think I've just been so used to doing really bronzy forehead looks for like my whole life. So not that you can see my forehead, but it's nice and bronze. So I feel a little more like myself, you know? These bangs are just not cutting it. And then I just tap around here as well. I should probably get a mirror. I'm literally using the viewfinder, which is just not the best gauge of how things are blended. But yeah, I'm just patting this around here. I like to focus the most of it, like right up here, where I focus that blush. That's where I like to have the most like concentration of pigment, if you will. Just right up in this region. And my skin is looking a little blotchy from that mole I tried to pick out of my skin earlier. Whoops. And I don't contour my nose necessarily, but I will take a fluffy brush and just go into that bronzer and do a little bit of nose bronzing, I guess. Jackie Aina does this where she concentrates most of it right up here by the eyebrow, and I really like that trick for me. Obviously, nose contouring / bronzing, that's really personal, so at least for my nose this tends to work, but it may not work for yours. So if you have like a specific nose shape, then you might want to Google how to contour that, because there are going to be different techniques for that. But I either do this or bronzer brush and like really go to town on it like that. And then I am gonna bronze a little down my neck just because things are looking a little tan heavy pale, so a little bronzer down here never hurt anyone. And then for blush, I'm gonna be using Growth Flirt by Colourpop. This is their Super Sharp Cheek. I'm gonna be taking it on the same fluffy brush. I might end up taking it on my sponge too, depending. I like a really heavy blush application, so this is obviously going to be personal to you as far as what you want, concentration wise and pigment wise. I personally really like this, so if you don't, then you know, carry on your merry way. Go forth and spread the word of the Lord, but I like a really gaudy, heavy intensity blush application. So that I'm gonna leave it at this today. Normally I would probably build it up over here a little more, but I think this works for my look. So I'm gonna keep it at that. I love this blush color. It's perfection. It's really, this combination I've been wearing like nonstop. And then for highlights, so you can either take a cream or liquid highlight. I have just been going for powder highlights only because I'm panning a powder highlight. Today, let's switch it up a bit. Let's throw it back to an oldie but a goodie. This is Dose of Color Soulmate. This was in collaboration with Karen or IluvSarahii here on YouTube. So I'm gonna take, what color brush I have? This one. This is the Morphe JH07. It's just like this kind of tapered brush. And this highlight is a little dark for me most of the time, but this was like, you could not like pry this from my dead body if I had dyed with this. This was like my all-time favorite. I hit pay on it like 4 times, and this is repressed. And I almost bought a backup. I think it's still available. Like you probably can still get it somewhere. I've literally forced myself not to buy another one because I know, like, obviously I haven't used it up yet. So unless I put it in a project, I probably won't use it up. Not for a long time anyway. But this was like the crap back in the day. This was my thing. And then now that I have bangs, I like to really glow up the forehead. Don't know why, don't know how. It's just kind of something that happens. Yeah, so I normally keep it at that level of intensity. You can go a little further if you want. I'll show you what I mean. This is the Makeup Revolution Incandescent Highlight Quad. I'm panning this currently, so that's why I use this again. But you could take a little bit of this gold shade, even mix it with the white if you're wanting something a little stronger. This is pretty strong, so I'm only going to do this for the nose because I love a strong nose highlight. Obviously that's not your preference, you know, sucks to suck, but I'm gonna mix the gold and the white a little bit and just really Tin Man my nose and my chin. I like that greasy chin look. I don't know. Yeah, and then I go in with my sponge. Make sure everything is nice and blend out. Yes, and then for setting spray, so obviously setting spray, you don't have to use it. I don't find that it's necessary. I just kind of like it. I'm going to go for today the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. This one's a really good dewy spray. I think they just repackaged this recently, so the sprayer is like a lot nicer. It's still kind of intense, but it works well, so I'm gonna I like to spray it in the air and let it fall on my face just because my eyeshadow creases really easily, so I need to like limit the amount of water that gets on my eyelids. Anyway. And then if you're really wanting to amp the longevity up, you can go in with this one. This is the Makeup Revolution Sport Fix. This one is basically an all-nighter dupe, so I'm gonna do the same with this one. Not that I need this makeup to last, but I'm going to anyway. Okay, and that completes the base. I'm gonna go, you know, finish up the rest of my makeup, maybe add lashes. I'm feeling a little feisty today, so we'll see what happens. And then I'll get back to you with the final result. Alrighty, so here's everything all completed on my face. I went really heavy with the black on the lower lash line. It got a little out of hand, so I did add lashes just to like counteract that a little bit because I was looking a little like droopy. But yeah, that's the completed routine. If you're curious, on my eyes I have the Carnival Tahiti from Be Perfect. And yeah, on my lips I have KVD Bow and Arrow and Wet n Wild Nudie Patootie, which is the most uncomfortable matte lip formula I've ever tried in my life. but I love the color, so I don't care. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Let me know if you're wanting any sort of other tutorials this, you know, coming season. I'm feeling in the mood to, you know, teach, I guess. So, you know, let us know. Be sure to like and subscribe before you leave the video, okay? Because why wouldn't you? If you've come this far, why wouldn't you just, you know, click that, give the like, give the subscribe, you can turn on notifications if you're feeling really frisky. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. So hopefully I will see you in our next video. Bye!